Let's imagine one day you could stop trading your time and energy for achievement. To stop feeling like the moment that you stop working, everything else will stop as well. To stop carrying the constant pressure that you have to work continuously just to stay ahead. You may think it's impossible now, but it's actually possible and it can happen sooner than you think, because in this video, I'm going to share the tips that I've learned from the book Effortless. Tips that can help you get the results that keep paying off without you constantly grinding. And it works for people with a 9 to 5 as well. Why? Because I've tested myself. Let me ask you a question. Do you think you can handle primary school quiz right now? I know it sounds like a silly question, but stay with me. There's a reason for me to ask this question. And the answer, of course, is yes. But why? Because what you know right now is far more than what's needed for you to pass a primary school test. And that's exactly why it felt effortless to you. And that's what this point about learning. But I'm not saying any kind of learning. I'm saying strategic learning. The type of learning that help you to gain the skills and knowledge that you can use again and again across different situations and without having to start from the zero each time. Because that's how you create effortless results. You learn once and you can reap the benefits from that one's effort again and again. Often the most useful knowledge comes from fields other than our own. The first strategy is learn from other fields. I think that's so true because to work on your job effortlessly, you almost never just rely on one skill, because think about it, you probably need communication and negotiation skills to get a deal at work. You probably also need the Excel skill to organize the data, to present the data clearly. And then you may also need the time management skills to make sure the tasks deliver on time. And let's be honest, school didn't really teach us these skills, especially for the soft skills. So even if you are great at something, let's say you are really good at Excel skills, you are really good at building a report, but if you are not confident in communications, in negotiations, or in presentations, you will still feel like it is hard and difficult for you to complete a certain task, like presenting to your clients, or you need to negotiate with your clients or your boss. But now imagine that you spent 3 months just to work on your communication skills, and because you are already really strong in other area, that one new skill suddenly can make everything much easier. So from that point on, the effort that you put in once, especially from a field that most people in your industry don't even think to learn from, it keeps paying off again and again, and it helps you to stay ahead of other people as well. And that was effortless results really look like. So here's something to think about. What is one skill that if you get better at it, it will make everything much easier? You've probably have a few in mind, but to make things effortless, just pick one. Pick the one that can make the biggest difference, whether it is public speaking, problem solving, or time management. And once you have decided, focus to improve it on the next 3 months. The second strategy is learn from the best. But actually, you might think the best people are hard to reach, or you need to pay a lot of money to take their course. But honestly, they are not. They have made themselves really accessible through books. The author calls that reading is one of the highest leverage activity that you can do. I truly agree with that, because think about it, for a book that less than £10 or a little bit more than £10, you can get access to decades of someone's experience that they have learned from the hard way, and that's actually insane value. But here's a thing that most people do it wrong, and I hope you're not doing it wrong, is most people treat reading as a number game, and they just try to read more and more books. After they read it, they forget about it, and they never apply what they have learned. So don't just read a book, study the book. If you find a book that you really like, you can read it slowly, read it deeply, go back to the chapter that hits you the most, go back to the chapter that you find there is insane value, or go back to the chapters that you are not quite understand. Check out the references at the back as well, and then also check out the author, see how they have applied their knowledge in their daily life. And if you like their perspective, like their concept, you can also check out if they have published other books as well. The author even suggests that summarizing what you have learned from the book into just one page and in your own words. And this is something that I've started doing as well. On top of that, I actually have a to-do list. After the one-page summary, I have a to-do list of what I would like to implement after reading this book, and then I will try to put it on my schedule and implement one by one to make sure I have studied this book and I also implement what have inspired me. The third strategy is learn from the principle, not just the method. It's really easy to chase quick solutions, to just ask someone for an answer and then you can move on. But the problem of this approach is a solutions only work for one situation. But if you learn the principle behind it, you can actually apply it everywhere. When you understand why something works and how something works, you can reuse that again and again. For example, if you actually understand how Excel formula work, you can use them across every future project, whether it is another project at your work, whether it is for you to manage your personal finance, or whether it is for freelance. If you understand a workflow behind a task, you can also apply the same workflow for every task in other projects as well. And if you understand the system that help you to reach your goal, you can apply the same system for all the goals that you have set yourself to later on. When you learn the principle behind something, not just the quick solutions, it gives you the freedom, because one effort, one understanding, you can unlock endless results. So what if you have already read tons of books, listened to all of the podcasts, and also tried different things in your life, but you still don't feel the sense of ease when it comes to getting things done? I used to feel the same way, and if that sounds familiar to you, the issue here might not be what you're learning, is how you are learning. The author said that the best approach for you to learn something is with the intention of teaching others, and not just teaching, but being able to explain to others using simple terms. As Albert Einstein said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. So when you learn with the mindset of you need to teach others, you study it differently. You'll pay more attention to the details, you will ask more questions, and you will try to understand why this works and why this doesn't work, but not just what to do. Because deep down, you have the pressure that you need to explain it to the others, so you have to understand everything thoroughly for you to explain it to the others. And when I say teach, I know that you may already thinking that's impossible, I'm not going to teach anyone, that is very scary. When I say teach, I'm not saying that you need to launch an online course or you need to be a full-time educator. Teaching can happen in a lot of forms. For example, you may be just sharing with your friends, you can just post a post of what you have learned today, or you can just post a story about it, or you can just give a quick presentation at work. That's actually what I've done in my company. I'm a quantity surveyor. Last week, I led a training for junior in my company, and not only I share the knowledge that I've learned in the quantity surveying field, at the end, I've also added a bonus session about how to increase efficiency at work. And these are the knowledge that I've learned when I read all of the books about productivity, about time management, etc. Because I think this kind of skills not only useful to myself, but it will also beneficial to them. So I share it to my colleague as well. When I do that, it forced me to organize everything that I have learned, and it forced me to digest it myself and then put it in a simple terms to make sure others understand. So next time when you learn something new, whether it is a skill or reading a book or just a small lesson, try to learn it as if you are going to share it with others. Just post a post or make a story or just sharing with your friends. The ultimate form of being effortless is you don't even have to think about anything. Have you ever had one of those mornings that when you just open your eyes, your mind starts racing? You're already deciding in your head what to work on, what to eat, what to wear, etc. just when you open your eyes. And that's the moment you would rather stick in your bed. Making decisions is difficult. Making decisions is tiring. I used to wake up with all of those racing thoughts and think to myself, would it be good if there's just someone tell me exactly what to do, guide me every single step so I don't have to think? And after reading this book, I found that that's actually possible, but not by hiring an assistant, but by automation. There are two types of automations mentioned in this book, and one is through checklists, one is technology. Let's start with checklist. A checklist is like a guide or a workflow that tells you exactly what you need to do step by step. You still have to do the tasks yourself, but the good thing thing is, you don't have to think about how to do it. It's like the cooking instructions on a ready meal. If you don't have any instructions, you probably need to figure out, how do I warm it up every single time? Do I need to use oven? Do I need to cook it? Or do I need to use microwave? However, if you have the instructions, what you have to do is just you need to follow the step, and everything is just much easier. And not all of the checklist has to be a sequence or has to be a step-by-step instructions. Sometimes can be just a reminder, like a travel packing list. These are the lists to make sure that you won't forget anything. And that's the goal of being effortless. You don't have to think, you just need to follow it. So think about, in your work, in your daily life, what can be turned into a checklist, whether it is a morning routine, evening routine, a workflow behind a certain task. Try to develop a system, try to develop a checklist behind the task, and everything will be much easier. The second type of automation is technology. This is where you don't even have to work on the things yourself. Think about like auto transferring money to your saving account, setting up meal subscriptions, automating your grocery deliveries, automating your supplements deliveries. It helps you to save time and energy so that you can focus on what actually matters. But as the author says, tech automation can also work against you. So this is something that you need to be careful of, because that's how people end up paying things that they no longer use. For example, like myself, I don't really use CapCut to edit videos, and my CapCut account just auto-renewed for another year. I've paid £99 for nothing. So here's a simple rule from the book that can help you to avoid this kind of mistakes, and that is use high-tech and low-effort path for essential, and low-tech but high-effort path for something that's along essentials. When you automate the right things, you free up the mental space and time, and your results will keep flowing even with minimal effort. Are you the type of person who would rather do everything by yourself than let someone to help you? I used to be exactly like that, and if you are nodding right now, you probably know how overwhelming that it can get. I'm not talking about outsourcing or hiring anyone. I'm talking about something that is free, and that's trust. In the book, the author has mentioned that hiring a trustworthy employee, but because I'm not a manager, I don't hire people and I don't manage anyone on a day-to-day basis. I was thinking, how can I actually apply this tip? And I found an answer, and that is by trusting my colleague. For a very long time, I didn't like to rely on anyone. I felt like I've got some trust issues at work because it made me feel vulnerable, because I felt like my success depends on someone else to do that part. So I used to do everything by myself. And honestly, because I also had experience where I tried to delegate my works, but that person didn't deliver and I end up doing everything by myself again. So at that point, I was just feel like I would rather do it myself, because I don't want to waste my time to check others' work and then at the end I have to do it by myself. But when I started my YouTube channel and began outsourcing part of my works, I had to learn to let go, and that changed my mindset. I realized that the problem wasn't trusting people, or the problem wasn't delegate to people. The problem was trusting the wrong people. Delegate the works to the wrong people. Not everyone will meet your standards, but if you find the right people who align with your work ethics, who align with your values, who actually care about work, and you learn to trust them, everything just gets much lighter. And right now, both in my full-time job and on my channel, I have learned to see trust as a form of leverage. I have learned to let go of the need to control everything. I have learned to trust people, because when you work with people that you can trust, you work with the right people, you can actually free up a lot of time for yourself. And that's how you actually get the effortless results, by building the right kind of relationships that you don't need to do everything by yourself. I used to have a desk that was much smaller than the one that I have right now. When I was working from home, I had my work laptop connect with an external monitor. Then after 5 p.m., I have to unplug everything, take my work laptop, walk for a few steps, put down my work laptop, and then grab my MacBook, go back to the desk again, and then plug everything in again just to work on my channel. It doesn't sound like a big deal because I'm just walking for a few steps there and then walking for a few steps here, but that tiny inconvenience really bothered me every single time. Sometimes I just felt too lazy to do it and I procrastinate to work on my YouTube channel after work. So at the end, I decided I need to remove this friction. I upgrade my desk from 120 cm long to 180 cm. So right now, when I have to switch from my 9 to 5 to work on my side hustle, I don't need to unplug everything. I don't have to move anything because my MacBook is literally just right there. I've actually spent more time to work on my channel because when I don't need to work on anything at work, what I have to do is I just have to turn on the MacBook that is just beside me and then work on my YouTube channel. Some inconvenience in life might seem tiny in the moment, so you just let it be. It's fine, it's okay, it's not a big deal. But when you add them up over time, it's actually costs you way more than you think. The time that for me to unplug everything, to walk to the desk and then to set up everything else again, the time that I have procrastinate and the mood drop when I have to unplug everything and set up everything again, it's actually costs way more than I think. And fixing them usually takes far less time than managing them for years. So ask yourself these 3 questions. What has been irritating you lately? What is the real cause of tolerating it over the next few years? And what is the one small step that you can do right now in just a few minutes to fix it? You will be surprised how easy it is to remove this kind of little inconvenience from your life and how much time, energy, and frustration you will save later on. When you learn strategically, you don't just grow once, you keep benefiting from that knowledge again and again. When you lift others through teaching, your understanding deepens and multiply every time when you share it. When you automate, the effort that you put in once keeps saving you time and energy every single day. When you trust, the result expand beyond what you could do alone. And when you prevent, one small fix today keep paying off for years to come. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to watch the part 1 and part 2 of the Effortless series as well. Part 1 is about how to help you enter the effortless state where your mind will feel lighter, stay clear, so that you will be ready to work on the task. And part 2 will show you about the effortless actions, how to make everything easier and smoother. And thank you for watching till the end. I will see you in my next video. Bye!